Books on the set. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning.
You said no coughing, no sniffling, nothing. Not possible
it's not
at
happening.
This time.
Exactly.
It's wintertime in the Mount Washington Valley. But good morning.
At least not for the next 15 minutes.
Excellent.
It's not going to happen.
Well, start the clocks. No, I'm just kidding. So, White Birch Books, right down the road from us on Route 16. One of my favorite places to shop.
Thank you.
I'm not even saying that just because you're here, because it really is. I've been spending a lot of time with you guys. Got my new socks just last week. Went in koi fish.
Right.
You have koi fish socks.
Koi fish. And we just got these new giraffes in. They're really cool. I know, it's like this whole giraffe. It's really neat. In fact, I need to do another sock order. Good reminder.
Yeah, I know, because I think I bought them out. But you have, other than socks, you have books.
There are books at the bookstore. Yes, and this week, you know, this month, I guess, we always try to do like a theme and everything. And I know that a lot of people are getting down on resolutions and everything, and that's fine. Yes, I'm not going to debate that, resolution or not.
Personal feeling on it.
Yes, but recently, so Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook came out and said his New Year's resolution was to read more. And he said something like he's going to read a book every 2 weeks and everything, which would mean less time on Facebook, I would think, for him. But
not a bad thing.
He's also doing like a Facebook book club. His first book was a very businessy type book.
Kind of dry.
Yeah, and so it's not. But a lot of people do say, okay, what should I do this new year? And you know, reading is good. I mean, getting out exercise and all that other stuff. Millions.
That's so common.
But yes, but
this is something that's cool.
And so what I brought in are some things that, you know, and everybody's like, oh, I don't know how to start a book group. I wouldn't know how to do it. And it's just like, if you can read a book and if you can have an opinion on it, then you can have a book group. And there's no rhyme or reason, there's no right way to do it or not. And even if it's two people sitting over coffee or
it's a great connect.
Whatever. We have a monthly book group. We have two of them at the store. Every second Thursday we have a mystery book group, which is a smaller group of ladies. It's always ladies. I'd love to have some men, but at the book group. and then the fourth Thursday of every month we just call it our Thursday night book club, but it's basically fiction and everything. And so what I brought is a selection of books that would be perfect for anybody. A little thought-provoking, a little fun, a little...
Let's jump in.
Where should we start? Let's see.
Well, the one that it's very... Yeah.
This one, landline.
What do you call that? Like graphically, you know, it's graphic.
The giant yellow phone.
Yeah.
You can use better hands.
No, I just hide them well.
So landline is a great one for discussion because the general premise is this fairly high-powered woman in the entertainment industry is having problems. It's so busy. She's supposed to go back to like Kansas with her husband for Christmas or something, and she's like, I can't make it. And he's like, well, I'm going without you. And so she's kind of in crisis, and she's staying at her mother's house because she can't bear to be in her own. And the old landline rings, and she ends up talking to her husband from like 20 years ago.
Whoa.
And so it's kind of it's kind of like, if you could go back, would you change anything and all that kind of thing. And so it's interesting because it's very funny. A lot of people don't even know what a landline is anymore.
It is true. You know, we have one, but it's kind of non-functional. We don't really.
I mean, those old phones that are connected.
It was bundled.
Buttons, everything, or the rotary.
Really
even.
Cool. This sounds like something I would love.
So it's a really Rainbow Rowell has written some great young adult books, and that's really how she came on the scene and why I picked this up too. But it's an interesting thing. What would you change? Now, of course, she has children, and you know, it's just like, you know, and anybody who has kids, they're like, oh my God, would I change anything? And for some people, it's funny. I know some people who said, oh yeah, I'd change it.
Really?
And everything, it's like, really? But, you know, but anyway, it's an interesting, you know, whatever you feel about the book, it's an interesting concept to talk about. And that's what I like about the book groups, because you get a little meat to talk about things like that.
And maybe a different opinion. Or, you know, something that you're like, I hadn't even thought about that. And those moments, that's what makes a great book.
Right.
And sharing it with people.
Yes. So that's why I brought that one.
Okay.
And everything.
Yeah, I'll be buying that one too. Thanks, Lord.
So this one I just finished listening to, and it's this. If you don't have children, it probably isn't gonna quite hit the mark for you, but if you do, it's perfect. This is set in an Australian community on the coast, a little posh, if you will, and around kindergarten parents. And like the rules, they call the ladies who kind of run the school the blonde bobs. They're the ones who are on the PTA, who volunteer, who make all the rules and everything, and then the people on the outside. And this young single mother, when she first shows up, they mistake her for the nanny and everything. And it just, she has an incident on the very first, not even the first day of school, it was like the orientation. And from then on, her son Ziggy, which who names their child Ziggy, you know, is kind of on the outs. And it's just like, but she has, and there's, you know, at the beginning there's a death.
Oh, geez.
So you spend the whole book going, who, how, why, and everything. And it's a beautiful unfolding, but you do laugh because all those little kind of parenting things, I mean.
That drive you crazy sometimes.
I mean, I remember at my son's preschool being so terrified of bringing a snack that would be rejected, you know.
That Laura,
You're
potato chips.
I saw one mother was like, no, we can't take your snack. And I'm like, you know, I don't want to be like
big
that.
rejection.
So it's all kind of stuff like that.
Everyone brings popcorn.
Right, I know. Grapes and crackers were my go-to. But anyway, staying kind of in the fun, our book group did read this recently, Rosie Project, and also set in Australia, not intended to do us 2 Australian books in a row. But this Don is a professor of genetics, and he is obviously some sort of high-functioning, like genius, but socially inept. Anyway, he decides, yes, it'd be lovely to be married. He likes, you know, he thought it'd be great to have woman companionship. So he doesn't want to deal with blind dates and all the messy and all this. So he makes a questionnaire, about a 4 or 5 page double-sided questionnaire, to rule out anyone who would be unsuitable. And of course,
sounds so romantic.
Right.
The roller coaster of love.
A sad statement, but lots of women fill out the questionnaire. And so, anyway, in comes Rosie, who completely fails the questionnaire from question number 1, but obviously they're going
there's something
to
about Rosie,
there's something, and the two of them find each other, and it's very interesting. What's topical about it is that this book came out, it's recently in paperback, and the second book just came out, The Rosie Effect, and that is I won't kind of give away, you kind of know it's coming anyway. Rosie is having a baby. Oh. So he's managed a relationship or whatever. Fatherhood brings out a whole other challenge. And it's hilarious.
All right.
But it's also touching and,
it says,
and
bursting with warmth, emotional depth, and intentional humor.
I think that's almost what I said.
You said it better.
Yes, okay. But it's really fun. And we read it as kind of like a light, I think we had just read a heavy book in our book group. And we said we need something a little lighter. And it was lighter, but it does have these deeper
like
underlying.
A smart love story.
Yes,
Yeah,
very
cool.
much so.
I got that from the cover as well. Okay. I like to claim that one too.
I'm like, wow, I did a really good job explaining that.
I understand completely. What's next? So Rosie Effect, Rosie Project, Rosie Effect.
How about let's do one for the guys, because guys are allowed to be in book groups.
Well, you know, I saw in this other one, the Husband's Secret. Is that for guys, or is that also?
Not really. Okay. That's another one where kind of the husband is gone, and I haven't read that. That's next on my list, but there's a secret, and I think they're not supposed to look at it until he's gone, but he's not gone, and I think it's something like that, like when do you divulge a secret and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So this is redeployment. There is all of a sudden I won't say glut, that's not the wrong word, but that's not the right word, but there's a lot of books all of a sudden on the market about the current war, the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, and they are very kind of raw and powerful, and this isn't just for men, this is for anybody. I read one that was very big last year, The Yellow Birds, and it was just like, it was disturbing. I mean, I'm glad I read it, but it was almost too close.
Devastating, yeah.
But this is a book of stories. It won the National Book Award, and it's one of those things where you might not want to read it, but you should read it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't not know about it.
What people go through.
Right. And, for those of us who aren't there and who don't do that kind of thing, it's maybe the least we could do to try to get some insight as to what happens. Of course, having said that, I haven't read it yet. They're hard. You really have to.
I know. It's one of those,
get ready for it, because they're not, it's not a fun, light read. It's tough, but yes, exactly, a gut check. So, but.
So Redeployment by Phil Clay.
Right.
Not Clay, just Clay.
And actually, this would be perfect for a book group, because you'd have support of everybody there as you discuss it, so you're not, kind of reeling with it by yourself.
Yeah. All right. So maybe your first man book club.
Right.
Get them in there.
Get them in.
Right? Add a little flavor.
Men, will you ever come to our book group? You should. You can discuss books too.
It's a great place to meet ladies.
That's right, it is. Actually, what's really funny is you say that, because at our book group, people come to it because, I'm new to town, or I've just moved up here full time. And over the years, we've had it there for 10 or 15 years. I see all these great friendships being formed. It's really,
I sense something brewing here.
So let me see, what do I want? Okay.
This one we've seen. This one
you've seen.
Is this the
Luminaries? That's the New Zealand Gold Rush, and I think I hadn't finished it when I was here, and I finished it and I loved it. It's kind of a mystery, but it's also there's just so much there. I didn't even know there was a gold rush in New Zealand. So anyway, so that's fun. But I'm gonna throw this one out, because this was a really hard book to read.
This is the water.
This is the water. This book is read like, this is Lisa. This is Lisa taking her daughters to swim practice. This is Lisa sitting in the hot, sweaty pool room watching her daughters. It's written like that, and it drove me crazy. But there's something about the storyline. So it's basically this swim practice community, the swimming community, and there is somebody who, in their myths somehow, who has
blood drops here.
Yes, has been over a course of time killing young women.
Ooh.
And it strikes their swim community, and there is somebody, it's a book of taking justice into your own hands, and it's really stayed with me after I finished it, even though it did drive me crazy reading it.
Well, it says most daring and original writers, so they're going out on a limb with that writing style.
It's a very different style, and it's just like you really have to get used to it, but it is an important story.
Okay.
And it is. It's just like, when is it okay? Is it ever okay?
It is. This
is Kelly looking at the book.
You are telling Paul where you grew up, and you're telling Paul.
Right.
So
it's written in a very different way.
Right.
But
so just an interesting reading just for the different style.
Yes. And that's the other thing about not resolutions or whatever, but if you're looking at the new year, it is a neat way. Mark Zuckerberg, like I said, with his 2 books a month or whatever, he didn't read really. So I think the other thing you could do is maybe get out of your comfort zone and read something that, I don't read mysteries, or I read nonfiction or whatever. Just try. I'm reading a nonfiction book right now, which is not my favorite, which is actually Wild, in the movies right now. For some reason, I don't do nonfiction.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not my favorite, but I'm reading it so that I can go see the movie.
I rarely read it, but when I do, it was like, I forget, what was the Shackleton's voyage?
Oh, Endurance.
That was a pretty cool read, because it was just so amazing. It was almost like nonfiction, because it was so amazing what they went through and how they survived.
Right.
But so are you enjoying Wild?
I am, and I'm not, because she's insane. She heads off on this, this Pacific Crest Trail with...
Well, it's so funny when you maybe don't like the main character.
Right. Well, for people who live up here, and we know what happens in the mountains when you're not prepared and everything like that, to see somebody, so we're almost more aware and everything. So what this woman is doing is crazy. So insane.
Lost to found on the Pacific Crest Trail, so she kind of just strikes out, huh?
Well, the gist of it is her mother dies young and suddenly from cancer, and she is just adrift and lost. And so this trek on the Pacific Crest Trail is kind of what brings her back to herself.
All right, who's playing her?
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon.
That's the other thing. If you want to know what your next movies are, go to the bookstore.
That's right. And the books are 99.9% better usually.
In fact, this is a perfect example. The Martian, it's going to star Matt Damon, I think this year, and it's another space, but this up on Mars, one astronaut gets left behind and has to, there's a time frame before he could be rescued, oh, darn it, we left something on Mars. Let's just turn the car around. It's not so easy.
So it's him on Mars.
Yes.
Huh.
And this book was kind of a slow burn and hardcover. A lot of people were talking about it, but I didn't have many people reading it. But now that they're talking about the movie, they're talking about
what is
everything.
Is he going through some emotional?
No, I think it's just how he survived. But he's got a sense of humor up there, and he cobbles together somehow. So
New York Times bestseller.
Yeah. So if you want to
crack this one open.
Yes, and as you know, books are better than the movies most of the time, and get a jump on it.
Okay. Ingenuity, engineering skills, and a sense of humor. So you nailed it.
Yeah.
All right. Dogged quest to stay alive.
Right. And Matt Damon.
All right. And
in a spacesuit.
And Matt Damon in a space. Well, I could think of better things, but all right.
For some people, for the right.
Cover 'em up completely. But before we let you go, so we're running out of time.
Yes.
Let's talk about journals real quick.
Well, journals. What I was thinking, another thing.
The all-important locked journal.
Yes. Nobody could get in this
Kids
one.
will love a locked journal.
These come from a particular vendor of ours, and they are handmade in India. And then this guy is so funny because he's like this Italian guy, and I picturing him in India negotiating all this. It just makes me laugh like crazy. But of course I keep turning it upside down. But this is just one particular. We have tons. We have pretty flower journals and everything. But a lot of people, this is the time of year. I know that I always pick up and say, I am going to keep track of what I read this year. Last year I made it till about April. I fall off the wagon, and I'm always I'll need a new journal to do this.
Yeah.
And then I try to keep it in the journal.
So you have like 60 journals.
Yes. Which my son then takes them all afterwards and puts it in.
That's not a bad thing, though. And actually, they're really encouraging kids to start writing in journals.
Right. Whatever they put in there.
Right.
And everything.
It's just the fact of putting pen to paper.
Yes.
That's good practice for daily, whether it's baseball stats or what they did that day or their emotions if they want to do that. But mostly baseball stats.
Yes. And so anyway, we do have a ton of journals, and always try to keep those in, and big sketch pads too. I mean, these are just. And what's fun about these is the paper is like this handmade paper. Yes, if you can crack the code, if you will.
Pressure.
And it's all a little different. It's got different little imperfections. So it
almost
makes
like
whatever
that seed paper almost.
Yes, whatever you put on it, that much cooler.
Yeah.
And more important and deeply felt.
And this is something like they could have found Indiana Jones style. This is really cool. Adventure style. Well, great. Well, Laura, thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you on. And again, I say this every time, but we could have you on for another 2 hours and still not complete what's in the store, because you guys have a wonderful selection of books upstairs, downstairs, kids' books, fiction, nonfiction. I mean, our piece that we came over and videotaped with you, I think we had our 8 favorite sections or something like that. And we could have added another 8 to that easy.
It is a fun place. I mean, we have worked really hard, and it's hard to keep up. But we do have a lot of fun, and we had a great holiday season. So we really thank everybody who came in for that. But it's fun, and we we want to. We won't have the volume of people that we did
so you can
last
a little bit more
month.
Quiet time, maybe.
But we will have the same things in the store where we don't. You're not going to find empty shelves and everything.
No, there's not an empty spot in there.
Right.
And how do they get in touch with you for the book clubs?
They can So White Birch Books, whitebirchbooks.com. I say that now, but of course I haven't put the new book group information on, but it will be there. You can always give us a call at 356-3200.
Do you need to reserve a spot?
No, no. It's open to everybody. We don't take attendance. You don't have to have a degree. We don't judge people on, oh, well, their comments weren't up to stuff. No, you don't have to. You don't even have to read the book. You'll find out how it ends and everything, but no, it's a no pressure. Okay. It's also a no food, no wine. We do one holiday party. It's just, a lot of people like that because other book groups sometimes get away from the book, so not like we're purist or anything. We certainly talk about other things, but we keep it
we
simple.
Get into trouble right before the camera comes on every time, so I can imagine that you guys do have a great time.
We
and the
have
books
a lot
are
of fun.
Fantastic, so even if you stay on track with that or wander off, it's a wonderful time. So all right, so whitebirchbooks.com, and Laura's going to get that information on there, but call them if you're looking for ASAP.
Yes.
Laura, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. All right, folks, we have a lot to do. 15 minutes to do it in. Watch and win weather and a ski report.